Well, I guess we're going to be doing some metal shaping today. So this is what we're going to try to build. This is like a bump or whatever for a 4-speed shifter thingy on some kind of a muscle car. And this is the pattern that I was supplied with. And I suggested just covering this over with some furnace tape or just running like a really obnoxiously large shifter boot. But apparently there's a lot of people out there who are way more fussy than I am. So I've been told that I have to build this piece out of metal. So that is what we're going to try to do. I guess the challenge here is that this appears to have like a kind of a turned flange where it welds onto the floor or transmission tunnel of the car. So the problem with that is that as soon as I go to form my steel panel and lay it over this to check it for accuracy, well, I'm going to have to put this turned edge in fairly soon in the process, which I kind of like leaving any kind of edges until last. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pattern of the buck here and then work from that. So for that, I'm going to use masking tape because of the way that it is. I think we're going to have to use some artistic license here. The one thing I don't like about these wire form bucks is that it's hard to keep all the wires tangent. So like if you look here, you can see there's like a gap here on this one, and then it kind of goes back down again. And like, do you make the part match the buck, or do you make the part so that it's straight? Because if we make it so it matches this, then it's going to have like a big lump in it right there. And then the top is kind of weird too. So again, I think we're just going to use some artistic license here and a little of this and a little of that. It is getting covered by carpet, so I don't think it has to be, it just has to not hit on whatever is below here. So yeah, I don't know. Well, this is shaping up to be a very oddly shaped contraption here, but I've decided, I can only really build it based on the information that was provided to me. I can't, start speculating on something like this. So we're just going to go with it. You saw me smooth it out a little bit in the wheel there, just to kind of see where we're at. And I can see that it does need more development, but the problem we're going to run into here is that I'm trying to fit this over it, and the way this is constructed is that it's never going to fit this way because all the little welds and stuff on the bottom. So at some point in the not too distant future here, I'm going to have to actually start tipping the edges of this out, which I don't like doing until the very end, but it's kind of the only way that I can make sure everything's going to fit. So it's just 6 of this and 10 of that. But I can also tell from my tape pattern here, when I put this over here and anywhere that I can kind of push down, like right here, I can tell that that area is still low, needs to be brought up quite a bit in this area. So I'm using this to kind of get this as close as I possibly can, before I start folding the edge over. Just taking a quick break here to feature these tire stickers for our buddy Mart over at Mart's Garage. Mart is currently doing a whole pile of bodywork on his 32 Ford sedan, and I think he's doing a fine job of it. But Mart has made one critical mistake, and that is he commented on my video and told me that he doesn't like tire stickers. So this one's for you, Mart. Look at those tire stickers. I've been messing around with this now for longer than I would care to, and it's starting to kind of fit the this buck here. There's a few areas where the shape of the buck kind of defies logic, so I'm just kind of using a bit of artistic license, I guess. I mean, the thing already looks like a turtle that got run over by an 18-wheeler, so I don't know. It's a stupid thing. I kind of was able to wheel out some of this all around in here. I'm just going to have to finish out by hand, which sucks. There's a lot of going back and forth here. The thing with metal shaping is it's kind of like a puzzle, and there's only 3 moves you can make. You can either shrink, stretch, or add form, and there's an infinite number of combinations of that throughout the panel that you have to try and decipher. The problem with that is that this puzzle is stupid. There's a lot of things going on here that a lot of different, reverse crowns and I don't even, things that haven't even been discovered by science yet. And it's all making for a very unnecessarily complicated panel that's going to be getting covered with carpet and a shifter boot. So yeah, I'm not having fun. This is stupid. Okay, well, I cut the hole for the shift doodad here, and it's supposed to have a little lip all around the edge there. So to do that, all I did is I have this little device here. It's just a hardened pin with a slot cut in it, and I just go around and just give it a little of that. If I can hold this here like so, and yeah, this just fits over like that, and then I can just use it to fold that lip a little bit at a time. It's a little bit tedious, and I've already showed this when we were repairing the 36 Chevy fenders, so I didn't really see any point in showing it again. So we got this done, and I don't really know what else I can do with this awkward behemoth of a thing. So I think I'm just gonna spend a few more minutes cleaning it up a little bit, and then I mean, there's only so much I can do here. Well, there it be, I guess. I don't really know what else I can do here. One flattened turtle thing. Yeah. I mean, I guess it'll do the job that it's supposed to do, I hope. But, I mean, I don't know what else I can really do here. You know, we've already got too much time into it, and it is being covered by carpet, as we said. These small panels like this are kind of not always what they may seem. They seem like they would be easier the smaller they are, but I find the smaller the panel, the harder it is, especially something like this where it has, you know, so many different weird shapes all tied into one thing. And as we said, you know, with metal shaping, you're always trying to find the right combination of shrinking, stretching, and form. And with a small panel like this, every time you shrink or stretch, we built this mostly with stretch, but every time you do one thing, it's going to change your form, and then you have to kind of figure out whether the thing you did is right or if you just threw the whole panel out. If it's right, you can just correct the form just by folding it by hand, and it'll go to what you want. But if it's wrong, then it's wrong, and then you have to kind of go step back. So a lot of going back and forth, and again, because it's so many different shapes contained in a small area, one little stretch or whatever affects the entire shape of the panel, and so you're just constantly chasing your tail. Versus as on a larger panel, you know, you kind of have more freedom to, you know, if you do something back here, you kind of have a little bit more wiggle room. You know, it's not going to completely throw the entire thing off, or at least it shouldn't. So I kind of smoothed this out a little bit more. I didn't get too carried away with it. And inside, I didn't really do anything. It's just kind of as butchered, as they call it. I might as well take a couple minutes here and screw this whole thing together so that it can leave here and go away and never return. And there you go, that's that. Just screwed the buck in as well, just so that it all kind of leaves here. And it doesn't fit too badly, all things considered. I just kind of, there was a few areas, like I said, you know, where it's like, if I make it, you know, fit this exactly, then it's going to be even more of an awkward thing than it already is. So I did what I had to do to get it done and get it out of here and move on to doing something that I actually want to work on. You know, this kind of actually looks like some kind of arts and crafts project that went horribly wrong. So I'm thinking, you know, if the guy doesn't want this, I'll just take it over to our local art gallery there and see if they'll put it on display. I think that would, you know, look pretty sharp in there. They're into all kinds of weird stuff there, so this would fit right in. So we got a new art gallery where I live a few years back, and it's this great monstrosity of a building that literally looks like a prison. And I thought that was kind of silly at first, but then I realized probably a genius idea, because when that art gallery fails, which it will, then they've already got a brand new prison facility ready to go. So they were actually thinking ahead on that one. But my goodness, what a terrible looking thing. And anyways, after a few years of driving past this place, curiosity got the better of me, and I decided, let's see what this is all about. So I go in there, and first gallery I walk into is this great, huge room, and it's like bigger than my garage, which I guess isn't a very fair comparison, but it's a very large area, and it's supposed to be some fancy art display. And I walk in, and there's just garbage all over the floor, like literal garbage, and not like interesting garbage, but like, normal people garbage. So like it looks like the floor of my garage, except worse. And there was a couple walls where somebody had done graffiti, but it wasn't even like, good graffiti. It was like lazy coward graffiti where they just quickly scribble something and then run away. Like, if you're going to vandalize something, at least do a good job. And they actually like flew in this big highfalutin artist from California, which I'm sure wasn't cheap. And they paid him to make this art display out of garbage. But, kind of a waste, considering there's probably, I don't know anything about art, but I would assume there's people who spend their whole lives doing art that would kill for a small space in a gallery somewhere to show off their latest piece. And here we have this great warehouse, which has been taken over by some highfalutin yuppie in California. And all I did was fill it with garbage. So, again, I did some looking into this afterwards to try and understand it, because you gotta try and understand it, right? I guess it was supposed to symbolize the struggle of the artist's people, which I guess the struggle was the struggle to find a decent broom, which I can certainly relate to. It's rough out there, but hey, nobody's giving me an art gallery to show off my work. Apparently all this garbage was priceless enough where they had to have paid guards standing around and making sure that nothing went astray. So they were like, yelling at me, "Sir, don't go there. Sir, don't step on that. Sir, your jacket doesn't look very nice. Could you please put some decent clothes on? Sir, can you please leave?" Thing is, if you wanted to make a mess of that room, you didn't have to fly somebody up all the way from California. Could have saved you a lot of money. All you got to do is just leave the place unlocked at night, and a bunch of skids will go in there and make a mess of that room for free. So to cut a long story short, this is the reason why I'm no longer allowed out in public. Anyways, it wasn't a total waste of time, because I actually did learn something about art. What I learned is that the only thing you need to get your art recognized in a gallery is to come up with some kind of pretentious name for it. So for this piece here, I've decided to call it Misused Energy Volume 2. So anybody out there with a flailing art gallery that is looking for their next $1 million exhibit, hit me up. Stupid flattened turtle project was just a little side quest here that I really didn't need or want, but sometimes you got to help people out. So we're going to be back on the 36 now, again, full time, and without any more unnecessary distractions, I hope. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to dislike and unsubscribe.